Hello everybody and welcome to this live Future 50 web hangout. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this, so it's exciting and pioneering times for us. It's something different, and Future 50 is all about doing something different and pioneering, so we thought we'd have a go. Who knows how it's going to go? It's either going to be brilliant, in which case we'll be heroes, or it'll go terribly wrong, in which case we'll never do it again. But that's the spirit of Future 50, and we don't mind that. It's all about trying something. Now, the object of today is to answer your questions about how to get hold of the grant funding. That was a key question that came out after our first meeting of the Future 50 on November the 18th. You remember that? You were all at Redwell Brewery. We had a great time. But when the hubbub died down, everybody was saying, well, OK, how do we get hold of the money? So that's what this is all about. And we want to hear from you. So do ask your questions. You can contact us at Future50_F50. Send a direct message. Ask away. This is your chance. Make the most of the opportunity. So, joining me now to answer those questions is Vic Short from MWIS. Vic.
Hello, Sean.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to be here.
How's the hands? Sort of.
Okay. We'll see how the questions come out. It might get worse.
We're good. Well, there's no such thing as a wrong answer, so
this is true.
We'll be fine. So, as I say, we're about to pitch the first question, but when we do, don't forget we want to hear from you. So if you've got any questions, send them to us. It's Future50. At Future50_F50. So interact with us as much as you can. Okay, Vic, first question we've got was from Morgan Self.
Okay.
Morgan's from Do Different. Morgan, thanks for emailing earlier on. I've got your message and I'll answer some of those questions later on as well. So good luck with the rebranding. Morgan's first question was, what does the grant funding cover?
Right, okay, so what the grant funding covers, unusually for a grant, this covers both capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Normally a grant covers capital expenditure, which put simply is you are buying an item, you pay out for it, you get a certain amount of the money back, you show that your bank statement shows the company's paid, we get a receipted invoice, and it's almost as simple as that. Revenue expenditure is obviously slightly more difficult because revenue is harder to define. So for example, things like wages, I've been asked the question already, does this cover wages? That's a kind of possibly. If you are taking somebody on specifically to work on a project which will enhance your business, your company in some way, bring something different, something additional to it, which will create extra jobs, then potentially there could be 3 months worth of cover there for wages.
Okay. You've been out and about sort of meetings with the businesses.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, how are they? What kind of things are you seeing?
In terms of the types of business, or all sorts, and it's been absolutely, it really has been exciting. It's just incredible because up to now I've kind of spoken to the people over the telephone, I've seen their applications, but now actually going out and seeing the businesses just brings everything to life, and you start to feel almost a personal relationship with these people. You know them almost before you've got there. So it's all kinds of things, from marketing companies through to good old-fashioned manufacturing companies, through to people who've got some real technical innovation that, this sounds a bit over the top, but it could almost take on the world. So a real diverse range, and I think that's the thrill of Future 50, is that diversity that's out there.
And how do you actually apply? Is it a case of like they just have to contact you, or is another set of forms to fill in?
Okay, for the grant, I mean, I think normally when you mention grants and applications, people break out into a cold sweat because everybody's sort of opinion is, oh my goodness me, that'll mean loads and loads of hoops to jump through. Yes, there is a form. The good news is it's probably not as long or as complex as the application to join Future 50.
Okay.
So it's relatively, in grant terms, it's relatively straightforward. So yes, basically you contact Richard Voisey in Norfolk, myself down in Suffolk, we can get the form out to you. You've then got the opportunity to play with it, for want of a better word, put your ideas onto it. Nobody's expecting the perfect document first time around, but where Richard and I will come in is we will help you to hone that document to say what it needs to say.
Okay, well, we've got another question that's come in from Richard Wortley. That's Indigo Swan. James, thanks for sort of tuning in, and thanks for your question. The question is, can items be grouped to hit the minimum £1,000, i.e. new equipment for new employees, desk chairs, etc.?
Indeed. Again, I think it's a case-by-case basis. One has to bear in mind that the minimum grant here is 5,000. So you're looking at an investment of 25. But yes, in essence, we're not looking at each desk individually. So if it were me, I would probably look at it and say, okay, that's effectively office equipment and fittings, all under that one heading. Yes, we might want to see quotations for the various items, so it could be desks, it could be computer screens, could be all kinds of things. But principally, yes, as long as you can lump them all together, that's fine.
We had, I mean, one of the key sort of planks of the Future 50 is about job creation. So
Yes.
when you talk about, you know, buying sort of desks and chairs, I suppose you might be thinking, well, what's that to do with creating jobs?
Indeed, indeed. And I think that's a really important point, Sean. Basically, Future 50 is funded by government. Government are obviously looking to promote certain things, and in this particular case, it's very much about job growth and outside investment. And those are the kind of things that we need to concentrate on. So yes, okay, you might be, for example, and I've spoken to 2 businesses already in the last week that are doing this, they've got to the point where they're bursting at the seams in their existing premises. So they're therefore looking to move into a bigger premises.
Yep.
Now, if you move into a bigger premises, you might have got a whole load of space that will take up X number of desks, but you need to fill those desks with employees. And that's where the growth comes in. So the investment is perhaps coming, or is definitely coming, from the company investing in the fabric of the building and in the internal. The job creation comes out of the employees that they will create as a result of expanding the premises.
Yeah. We're going to come back to that question of premises in a second. I'm just going to do a quick shout out because I was following who's been watching us. Thanks to Do Different, Morgan, for watching us, and also to James. Also, I know we're being watched by Strategic Marketing Limited in Suffolk, so thanks for tuning in. Hope you got a question, and don't forget, if you have got a question, it's now where's my bit of paper? It's at Future50_F50. So get those questions coming in. Another question that we've got here, Vic, is.
Yeah.
Companies saying that we're actively looking to buy new premises for an HQ or to rent an office.
Yep.
Is that within the grant, and how does that work?
Okay, so is it within the grant? The answer to that potentially is yes. I say potentially because you've just got to look at each case on its merit, and it can be all about wording.
Yeah.
The important thing is, when it comes to accessing a grant, is that you mustn't have already committed to doing something.
Yeah.
So if, for example, you've said, yes, okay, we're going to lease a premises or we're going to buy a premises, we've already signed contracts, we've got a mortgage arranged, we're up and ready to go, effectively, the people who hold the purse strings will say, well, you were clearly going to do that irrespective of the grant, so therefore we're not really that keen on supporting what you were already going to do. So another key word, if there is such a word in the English dictionary here, is additionality. Right. What is the grant going to enable your company to do over and above what otherwise you might have done? And that could be more or more quickly.
So in terms of demonstrating that and the evidence that you would need for that,
yes.
I mean, what would you want then to kind of prove this additionality element?
Right, okay. So I think the starting point is definitely the application form, because that then will form the talking point between Richard and I and the company we're sat with to see, well, okay, exactly what are your plans, what expense investment is necessary, and how can we make the grant fit? Yeah. I think the important thing for everybody out there to realise is that we are in post to help people get the grant, not prevent them getting it. Yeah. So we're very keen to make sure that we get the wording right, and sometimes with grant funding it can be just a play on words, a change of a sentence or two to reflect why the government is looking to give out the money can make all the difference between success and failure. And I think the key, if you're filling it in as a client, is say, okay, what are the funders looking for? And here it's quite clearly outside investment, job creation, something that's going to happen over and above what would otherwise happen or happen more quickly. And that's really the thought process for when you fill in the application. Yeah,
I think we've got a question that's come in from the Redbourne group now, which we're going to take. First off, congratulations, by the way, Redbourne. I know you won an award this week, and you've been tweeting about it, so well done for that. And the question is, can the money be used for marketing or promotional purposes?
Again, could be two answers, but yes. I mean, if, for example, you are using an outside consultancy to do some marketing for you, or I don't know, you might want a website built or something around that, then yes. The real thing here, potentially, where it's easier to get a grant is if whatever you're asking for is being done at arm's length. Right. So if you came to us and said, okay, I'm going to get one of my little backroom staff to run a marketing campaign for us, that's quite difficult to say, well, okay, what's kind of different, what's additional about that? But if you came to us and said, we're looking to devise a whole new, I don't know, maybe a branding, etc., and we need to get outside consultancy in to help us, and then on the back of that produce all our literature, our website, etc., that sort of thing is eligible.
And would you expect to see a demonstration of how that can lead to growth? Because obviously you raise your branding, you're going to try and grow your business.
Absolutely, and that is really the key thing here, is being able to demonstrate to the funders how what you're proposing to do is going to have an impact on the local economy, upon jobs growth, etc.
Okay, so when people look at this sort of regional growth fund and they think, right, there's 1.26 million available, when you break that down to the business that we've got in Future 50, is there a sort of minimum then, or a maximum that they can apply for? Yes,
I mean the grant runs from between 5,000 and 50,000 at 20% intervention. So if my maths are still holding together under the spotlight, effectively you're really looking at a minimum investment of 25,000 to get 5 back. Or 250 gets you 50 back. But 50 is the top. So if you're investing 350, I'm sorry, but 50,000 is the maximum that you can get back.
But if you're putting in, so if you want 50, you've got to put in 250. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, in essence, you'll eventually put in 200, but you need to be able to pay out first to get the grant back. The mechanics of how this works is your company physically has to pay the money out and then evidence to us via a bank statement and a receipted invoice that, yes, that's what we said we were going to spend the money on. Here's our evidence that we've spent it. Now, please, can we have it back?
Okay. I'm going to do another quick shout out now to Inheritance Data. Hello, guys. Good luck with the new office opening at the end of the week. That's Friday. And also to Lisa Angel Limited, because I know that you're tuning in as well. And Lifeline 24, who again are moving to new and bigger premises in Taveram, and got some exciting plans about rolling out the business in Ireland too. The question that I had for you, Vic, is how long would this all take? You make your application. When are you going to find out?
Okay, that's almost how long's a piece of string. Because I mean, obviously, it needs to be generated by the client. But assuming all is fairly straightforward, you make your application. There are various things we need to go with that application that I won't necessarily go into here. But providing everything is okay, we'll probably have a chat with you initially just to run through it, just to make sure we understand what it is you're applying for. And as I said earlier, it might well be that 1 or 2 sentences need changing for some reason, just to kind of reflect the important points. But once that's got to us, we then submit it to a panel. The panel will then look at that and make its decision on, yes, this is something the grant can fund. Once that's happened, and that should be within a 5 working day frame, then the company will get an offer letter saying, okay, we're allowing you the grant of X amount, which is made up of and the same elements that will be on the grant application. So about just over a week probably before you know for certain you've got the grant, which gives you the green light then to go ahead and start on the investment.
And people want to see that the money's in the bank before you...
Yes, indeed. Okay. So yeah, there needs to be some evidence that the money's there to be able to do what needs to be doing.
Okay. Well, I think we're getting near the end now, so just got time to take another question, I believe. And is it an automatic entitlement?
Simple answer to that is no.
Why not?
No, it's not. Don't shoot the messenger. No, it's not an automatic entitlement. Everybody within Future 50 is entitled to apply. I think that's the important thing. But yes, we've got to look at each case on its merits. There are certain things under the grant scheme that will be eligible. There will be other things that perhaps aren't eligible. And it's difficult for me to stand here and say what is and what isn't, because I can take an instance such as training. Training generally isn't an eligible expense that you can claim back. But there may be some aspects within that you think, actually, that might be workable. So I think my message to everybody out there is better to put more things on your application and have some of them crossed out that don't apply, rather than try and best guess and think, oh, I won't put that on because that probably won't qualify. You might be pleasantly surprised.
We've got one final question now, which is Andrew Nelstrop from English Whiskey, which is down on the A11. Andrew asks, realistically, and I think he's trying to push you a little bit here, Vic. You know, we're talking about timescales, but he's saying, look, realistically, how long is this going to take before you can expect to see it? I mean, are we talking days, weeks, months?
In terms of actually getting the money back?
Yeah.
Right, in terms of getting the money back, if we just sort of rewind to what I was saying earlier about this is the process, application comes to us, application goes from us to panel come back with an answer is about a week, 7 working days maybe, offer letter goes out. I'm not the postman, so I can't. It would probably go out electronically, I would imagine. There's probably a hard copy needed as well, but electronically we can probably let you know. Then the process is, you as a company spend the money. So let's just say, for example, you apply for a grant in early January, it gets agreed, you spend the money hopefully at the end of January. February, you'll have a bank statement to show that you've spent that money and show the money going out of your account, and also a receipted invoice. That comes to us in February. We then submit that back through to the Regional Growth Fund, and you should get your money back probably early March.
Okay.
So, you know, 6-8 weeks. Difficult because it just depends on time and where you are in the month and so on and so forth.
Excellent. Right, Vic, we're going to have to leave it there. So thanks very much for taking the time to answer the questions. You know, they might even let us back next time.
Indeed. Well, you never know. And all I would say as a final one is, you know, Richard covers Norfolk, I cover Suffolk. Please talk to us, and we'll be more than happy to run through it and help you complete your application. That's
a good point, actually, that Vic raises there, because this obviously isn't the end of the process. And if you've still got questions that you want to ask, get in touch with Vic Shaw or Richard Voisey in Norfolk. The details can be found on the Future50 website, or of course tweet us too with the question at Future50_F50. Okay, that's it for this pioneering Future50 live web chat. So thanks for tuning in, and catch up with you all later. Thanks.